Micah's mom, if you are listening slash watching this, I will be there for the intervention.
One, two, three, four.
Welcome to Half-Ass Witchery. I am your co-host with the co-hostessness mostest. I'm Micah of Eden Eye Tarot, and this is my co-host Vanessa. Happy Virgo season. I hope everyone is enjoying it so far. Right now, as we're taping this, it's Leo season, but I cannot wait for it to actually be Virgo season. This temperature is killing me right now. So hopefully everybody is also staying cool. I know that Vanessa is looking at me like, you don't know hot.
Bitch, it's 110 and humid here, so shut the fuck up.
Ew. Ew.
We hit
Oh my
monsoon
God.
season,
Oh
which
my
means it just
God.
rains buckets. And like, I know most of Cleveland had lost a lot of power because I got to hear
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Um, Motherfuckers, shut the hell up. Like,
Okay, so really quick, we're gonna do a quick catch up really quick. Vanessa, you want to go first?
oh yeah. So lots of shit's been going on. The by the time this recording comes out, hopefully the store that I work out of will have been named the best metaphysical shop in Tucson because we fucking are
Ooh.
motherfuckers. Like how often do you get to shop and get your readings done, have that be a tax write-off, and then have 30% of whatever you pay into your readings and metaphysical products go back to the community? We the best. Um,
I'm like, and you've been killing it, like with
yeah, oh
like the
yeah.
marketing and
Yeah.
everything, like doing all the videos and things like that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I've been mainlining some of these apps, Canva and
Yes.
CapCut. Of course, I pay for Canva, and I'm like, I am getting my $50 worth out of that every fucking day, and I do. It's actually really great because it is like for those of you who are small business owners, it is well worth the investment of $50 a month in the Canva because I didn't
Canva
die.
is $50 a month.
hmm It's expensive. I know, but it's so fucking worth it. It is so fucking worth it. I've designed so many of my sister-in-law designed my logo that ended up being somebody's tattoo that I found.
Yeah.
Like designed my logo on
hmm
Canva. My most of my like most of my real hot like signs and posts that you guys see, that's from
hmm
Canva. My labeling, all my labels that I created, that's from Canva.
hmm
Like Canva is well worth the $50 a month. Now, I can use the Metaphysical Shop's Canva app as well now if I
hmm
wanted to. Um, because they also have a bunch of cool shit on there. Like I've been doing the Tattoo Tarot Thursday, and for those of you who don't know what that is in Tucson, 100% check it out. It is you get a reading from either me or one of the other readers one of the other two readers that do tarot reading at the store. But it will be at the tattoo shop, and then like whatever major arcana pops up in your reading that resonates deeply with you
hmm
is the one you can get tattoo. You can get a flash tattoo of it on your body somewhere. And that's $60. So it's $30 for the reading and then $30 for the tattoo.
Okay. Okay.
So for those of you in the
I
Tucson area that have heard of us, get your tattoo tarot, man. They got some sweet ones. The Empress one is like really fucking cool. They have two really cool Empress ones.
yeah. I can only imagine.
hmm
Um, okay, so what else has been going on really
Uh,
quickly?
okay, so personally, kids started high school.
Oh,
Yeah, your niece started high school, man.
I can't. Oh.
Remember when she was little and cute?
If I weren't so tired right now, I would cry.
Uh, she's in
I
ninth
might still
grade,
cry
man.
later.
I know.
I can't believe it because she was so small.
I know.
And now she's in high school.
And she's in
And
high
where did
school.
the
She's
time
tall.
go?
It got sucked into 2024 tax.
Where did the time go? That's crazy.
Yeah, she's gonna be. You gotta come out when she graduates. You absolutely have to come out when she graduates. She
Hopefully, I'll
loves
be
you so
out
much.
before then.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be out before then. If I can get like, that's also why I'm like, I want a 3D job because I want to fucking travel and not worry about like, how am I gonna,
Another reading.
oh,
So, like, if you want a reading with me, people, you got to go on my website and start booking with me because because I'm starting to pop off. And if you want a reading with me, and you do, you really do, you got to go on and book it with me. And if you want to get like a reading with Micah, you better fucking start booking with her because like seriously, if you don't want her having a 3D job, if you don't want her having a 3D job, you need to start fucking booking with her. And I don't know why
you
you're
know
not
what's
booking with her. This bitch could predict 2020. Imagine what she can do for you.
You know what's so funny is that like right now I actually like I'll be changing it soon, but I need to make sure that I have a couple things in place first. Um I have a pop-up on my website right now that says I'm not available for readings, but I actually will be open for readings again soon. It'll still be very limited. But the pop-up will be going away soon because I will be opening up readings again in
Mhm.
2024. So definitely book that when that pop-up when I announce it after Mercury retrograde, of course.
Yeah,
But
fucking don't do shit during Mercury in retrograde. What the
no,
hell?
no. So right now I'm just quietly planning. But so for me, we're gonna come back to like clients and booking, because it actually will tie in with one of our topics today. But until then, um, I moved. I am in a new space. There are
I'm
lots of
so
plants,
cited.
as you
I'm
can
so
see.
cited.
Like, yes, the
I saw
all the
your
green blotches are
saw your
plants.
TikTok.
Yes.
Stop buying fucking plants. Mind your own fucking business.
Fucking
They need
business.
siblings.
Yes.
I
And so
watch that
all
so much when when I'm waiting for my TikToks to pop up. I just sit there and watch that one because that is just too
oh,
fucking funny. I love it too much.
thank you. Yeah, so no, I have lots of like natural light that comes into this apartment. So it's great for the plants. The plants are all up front, and I will need to start decorating very soon because it's going to be, in my mind, it's already spooky season. Room. But yeah, so I moved. I've just been trying to figure out like career stuff. Um Juggling different responsibilities and things like that. Of course, Vanessa talked about how a good part of Cleveland lost um, power over the last week because of the tornado that I didn't even realize hit in Parma because I just moved to Parma. And so I didn't even realize that it touched down in Parma.
Mhm.
But ironically, Parma, or at least the apartment complex that I live in, um, only lost power for like 15 minutes and then we were fine. But um I didn't even realize that it was that big of a deal until my mom called me like maybe about 15 minutes before the storm hit. But yeah, so my mom was sick with COVID during the power being out because she had an outage for almost a week and she was sick at home with COVID. So I was doing soup runs every day. And yeah, so yeah, just figuring out career stuff. I will be back doing readings eventually. Um, but for right now, I'm just posting on social media for like once a week. So there will be a video up today or tomorrow. I'm gonna try and have it up by today on TikTok and the Instagrams. and or the Instagrams. But that's about it. That's happened for me. Um, but it is Virgo season. We will get more into Virgo season later in this episode in particular.
Save me.
What?
Save. I live with two Virgos. Remember this?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I'm like, you would know. So it's about to be interesting in your household because I've looked at the astrology for Virgo season in particular. And
Fuck,
I
man.
think,
I don't drink enough. I don't fucking drink enough. There's no
I,
alcohol in this house to save my chaotic ass.
you know, what's so funny is that Leo season, I think, for me personally, it's been a lot of wow, all these celebrities are catching a lot of drama and like big dramatic environmental things are happening, but nothing like as far as like not a lot of drama, I'll say, has been happening for me in Leo season. However, um Virgo, you would think Virgo is not about drama, but I can see how with some of the astrological things that are happening in during Virgo season, how it could get a bit messy. I think the difference between Leo season, Leo season was maybe dramatic. Virgo season, we're about to get messy, right? And
Virgos
then
hate
having to
messy.
clean
What are
up
you
our
doing to
mess.
the what are you doing to these poor Virgos? They hate messy. They hate messy. Don't they
we
hate
still
messy?
have we
Don't
still
they hate
have so
messy, my
many
little
things
Libra
that
dog? I just want to be petted.
but yeah, so the thing with Virgo season is I think you'll see a lot of people um not intending to be messy, but creating a lot of mess and then having to possibly clean up that mess. But I don't even think the cleaning up of the mess will happen. I think the cleaning up of the mess will happen because they got messy and they're standing on it. But we'll talk about that later when we get to the tarot part.
Yeah.
Um, but speaking of messiness and um just kind of getting flustered because Virgo season is the time where a lot of people are getting very flustered over like the end of the year. We're not that far away from holiday season. I saw a Spirit Halloween sign already up. Like, and so I personally, that's also my, as I'm looking at career things and looking at and returning to a lot of ways of making money that I used to during a Mercury retrograde, during Leo season when this is being recorded. I think about how I'm like, I don't want a job. I just want funding. I just want to be funded. So if that means I have to get a job, then sure. But also, I'm open to other things as well. But with that being said, a lot of people are very anxious during this season, which is Virgo season, because this is when you're watching it, because this is when we put it out.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are very anxious. And so I was thinking about what are some ways, especially with this Virgo season getting a bit messy, that you can, like, what are some ways? This is a question to you, Vanessa, and to me, but also to all of our viewers, listeners. What are some ways that you do self-care? Because self-care, I'm going to channel like Virgo energy. Self-care is not always eating like delicious, indulgent food or like going to the spa. Those things are great, but what other ways do you self-care that are not indulgent? I'm gonna ask you first, Vanessa.
Oh, my friend. I sleep.
You
I
sleep.
sleep. I love. So yes, I get it. My mattress is, I don't have like a proper bed. I literally have a mattress and some blankets and shit. But
Hmm.
my mattress is fucking luxurious as shit.
Yeah.
And I love my mattress so fucking much. So I like that is one of my big self-care things because I have what's called hyposomnia, which means
Hmm.
it's a form of this, it's a form of narcolepsy, but what it actually means is this,
Oh.
I just never ever, like, my heart rate doesn't drop or anything. But with me, it's no matter how much I sleep, it's still, my brain doesn't like get enough of it. Like it,
Hmm.
literally I need more sleep. And so, yeah, my big self-care is sleeping. What about you, baby?
For me, it is actually dealing with finances. Um, because I hate dealing with finances. But the thing that takes a lot of stress off me is to go ahead and just say commit to dealing with finances. Um,
And there's
because
the
that
Virgo
gives me,
placement.
yes, I have Jupiter and Virgo, but I'm like, I hate dealing with finances. I do not, I've gotten better with it. And so like, I'll say, dealing with any sort of finances, writing down some sort of budget, writing down to-do lists,
Mhm.
anything that will take stress off of me in the long term is my self-care. Also, yes, taking naps, but also calling people back or texting people back is self-care because I love my friends and my relationships, but also like in my day-to-day life, I'm either so zoned out or just so tapped in that responding to texts and phone calls just freaks me out even more or just makes me a bit more nervous, anxious, and whatever. And so actually taking the time. Now, you might only get a text back from me like once or a call like once a week because that's the time I've designated to doing that.
I
But
know.
yeah.
Because I'm texting you like 6 times a day, and then I'll
Yes.
get like my 1 week laughy emoji out of you.
Yes. That is so
And I
me.
just
And I know
accept
I've
it.
done it.
I accept it because I'm like, all right, she's still alive. That's good. That's all that
I'm
matters to
still
me.
alive. Yes. I'm like, and I will call because usually it's like, fuck, I've sent too many laughing emojis and I haven't sent enough like either messages or whatever. And so that is my self-care is responding to my friends because I genuinely do care. It's just that, yeah, either I'm too zoned out during the week and I'm really enjoying the isolation, or I have a lot of things to do during the week and I just can't deal with peopling at that time. And so I'll usually set like a designated time, usually during the weekend, um, where I have some downtime to respond to friends' messages. And then
Hmm.
after that, it's like, yeah, lots of naps. I work at a luxury health club. And so if I have the gas and gas isn't like just screwing me in the pooper, then I'll go sit in the steam room or whatever, and do stuff like that. But that is the self-care, but also therapy. I actually have therapy today. And so
That rem-
so I guess in juxtaposition of like self-care, because a big part of like self-care and um I guess like the reason you have to take self-care is because dealing with people in general can be stressful.
and sucky.
Um oh, by the way, okay, we're gonna do a slight tangent for a second. So
When do we not do tangents? Come on now.
right. So
Our three
the
longtime listeners know that most of our podcast is just tangents.
I'm like, the funny thing is, so another way that I'll self-care is while I am like doing what I need to do, I'll find a sponge squeezing ASMR live on TikTok. And it's from Clean Talk. It's like on Clean Talk or whatever. And so those videos where they have like a whole bunch of sponges, like big like car sponges usually, and they're pouring like whole bottles of Fabuloso and Pine Sol and bleach, and then they're like topping it off with a whole can of comment, and then topping it off with dish soap, and then they're like bring it right up to the camera, and then they just squeeze. It brings me so much peace.
I'm so glad you're getting therapy tomorrow today.
Because I'm like, oh my God, it just does things for me. I even,
I
hold on a second. Hold on a second.
No, no, absolutely fucking not. Absolutely. Okay, people, while Micah is away from the mic, I am going to straight up call her ass out about this shit because that sounds so fucking gross to me hearing sponges squeezing. Like it is making me nauseous at the thought of it. It's
Sometimes there's not a live, and I have to make my own. live, in person live. So I got sponges for myself. So I have 4. And so they all smell delicious. They smell like the yellow ones smell like bleach and Fabuloso right now. Um this one, this one smells lighter. I haven't used it in a while.
Micah's mom, if you are listening slash watching this, I will be there for the intervention that is going to take place after this fucking read. Like, people who are listening to this, she is literally sniffing the fucking sponges. Literally sniff. She's squeezing them. She's squeezing them like she's in love with them. Like the face she is
like this, and
making.
then you like,
It is
oh, and I love that they do like the little rebound where they squeeze it and then they take their thumb and then they wipe the rest of the cleaning solution off and then they like, and so
they
that it,
like
like the
she just
spuds.
she just did the motion where she's trying to throw the sponge, like slam the sponge on the ground or something. Like, mm, I'm hearing this in my head and I'm tasting this in my
It's
mouth and it is
delightful.
making me nauseous.
Yes, I watched, I swear I'm not suicidal, but I watched yesterday, I watched a clean talk video of someone making a toxic cocktail. So they put ice, because this is something new that I found. I really like sponge squeezing videos with cleaning products where they put like the crushed up, like like the crushed up ice. They fill the sink with crushed ice and then they put the sponge in there. And then they like put the sponge under the ice and then they mix it around and they like squeeze it with the ice on there. So you hear the ice, you're like, and then they put like, again, they put like pinolin, however you pronounce that shit.
Penis?
And
Liquid
then
penis?
pinolin.
What is pinolin? I've never fucking heard of this before. Oh, okay. Audience at listening to media, she just walked away to show me what pinolin is, and
Let me
it's not gonna. Oh, pinalin. It is
Mhm.
knockoff pine salt, people.
Yes.
It is
Yes,
basically. She
because I
just showed me
learned
a
from it
giant
from
gallon,
Clean Talk.
a giant gallon green bottle of what's called pinalin, and it is
Mhm.
it is the knockoff pine salt that you get in Mexico that is 10 times more effective than the fucking shit in the United States, because Mexico is just like, I don't give a fuck as long as it's goddamn clean. Like,
Yes, yes. And actually, I learned about pinolin from, um, I swear, I'm like, but this is true, so I don't mean to be offensive. I learned about it from a Mexican housekeeper on Clean Talk. And so that's how I learned about it. But then I saw everybody on Clean Talk using it, whether they were Mexican or not. And I was like, oh, that's
because of
that
that one
stuff.
lady. Yeah, it's because of that one lady. Like that shit were like Fabulosa and Pinalin.
Mhm.
That shit works, man. That will cleanse everything. That will cleanse
Yes.
that will cleanse your soul. That will
Yes.
cleanse hell. Like the devil's by himself, like, what the fuck just happened? And then you just see like this little Hispanic woman with her pinalin, and she go, pinalin. And he's like, shit. Like,
Yes. But yeah, so Clean Talk, that's also how I self-care, is listening to sponge squeezing videos with different um with different cleaning products.
I'm all blurry.
And sometimes I have to make the ASMR myself. If my favorite ASMR people are not online, I have to make it myself. So anyway, that was my tangent, but I was going to talk about, I was like, sometimes dealing with others can be really stressful. And so what are some of the ways, like what are some of your pet peeves, Vanessa? But also alternatively, how do you deal with just kind of those pet peeves or like the stupidity of others? Because I feel like Virgo understands that statement is honestly Virgo and Scorpio. Virgo and Scorpio are just like forced to deal with idiots all day. So I
Well,
feel
they
like that's
believe they're forced to deal with idiots all day.
yes, yes.
Um, for the visual viewers at home, I'm sorry, I'm actually like really blurry right now, and I don't know why. But um, so what am I like? I'm trying to think because I have like a long list of things that just annoy me.
Hmm.
Like there are certain words I cannot fucking handle.
Is moist one of them?
Moist, I don't mind. Epic. Epic is a word because I fucking heard when before me and Mountain Man started dating again, he kept using the word,
Hmm.
everything was so fucking epic, epic, epic. And I'm like, motherfucker, you are not allowed to use epic anymore. Like and so every time I hear somebody use the word epic, I want to like seriously throat punch them so hard. But I just breathe
Hmm.
and I'm like, can you not use that word? It's annoying. There's certain words that are just overused, certain phrases that are overused. Like there are certain phrases I've had to ban from the house because my kid practically embodied them.
Yeah.
Like when she was younger, it was I can't. And I'm like, you're not allowed to use that because everything was I can't, I can't, I can't. I'm like, no, you're not allowed to use that phrase anymore.
You're like, I
Um,
can't even.
mm, I can't even. I will uneven you. My old head is like, like, um, but I think what is another phrase that I like am just, oh, right now the phrase that has been recently banned from my house is like, that's not my fault. No, bitch. I'm talking to you about it because it is. Take your responsibility for your shit. Like, oh, and the some of these fake YouTube videos that's been getting on my nerves. The oh, there I am
Mhm.
again. Hi, people. Uh, the I don't know whatever happened to them. My kid used to be really into it, where this is like, we got a kid from the black web, you guys. Like, mm,
Oh, that
mm.
just sounds cringe.
I would, in those moments, like if there's something that is just, I find noises are like there are certain phrases and accents that just get under my skin. And
Hmm.
if I can avoid them, I just avoid them. If I have to deal with it, I try to really just focus on the content of their words.
Hmm.
As a Gemini, as a because that's a phrase I've learned recently, double Gemini. This is when you
Yeah.
have two Gemini placements in a major into your in two of the three bigs. So
Hmm.
as a double Gemini with a Sagittarius moon, it is very hard for me to like focus on the content of somebody's phrase and not think that they're a complete fucking idiot. But I do my best. What about you, Micah? What's your pet peeves?
Um, I have a theory, and I'm working on this theory, is that your pet peeves come from your Venus sign.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that mine lines up with that pretty well because I'm like, I have Venus in Aquarius. And so I'm like, I'm not surprised that one of my biggest peeves is people that are just super judgmental. Like, we all judge at like in some way, shape, or form. However, people that are just like so stubbornly judgmental that it's ignorance, I it just irks me really bad, like making a judgment about someone based off of the fact that maybe like they have their hair up a certain way, or they have something like their shoes look a certain way, or like something very superficial, and then making a judgment about the person like internally grinds my gears. um
Let me tell you what grinds my gears.
right, right. There was like when I was in high school, we had a teacher. He was like he was, I guess, a TA, and he
Hmm.
introduced us because I wasn't allowed to watch Family Guy. And for the people that don't know, that's where that came from, I do believe.
Hmm.
And he introduced us. He had us start out like one class, like I think it was on a Monday, one class a week, where we had to write for our journal prompt. And I do believe this was like history class, but it was like what grinds your gears. And we had to write what ground our gears. Like this, like so like, you know, up until this point, what was something that grinded our gears, or what's something that just grinded our gears in general. And so that is something, but also I cannot stand it when um men in particular have like stinky feet. Like, I'm sorry, that just like I just like had a flashback to the last man that had his fucking feet out and they smell like, and yeah, so like bad hygiene.
I don't think that's something that is I would consider a pet peeve so much as just like
It makes me irrationally angry.
it makes me I think it makes everybody irrationally angry. If it doesn't make you irrationally angry, what the fuck is wrong with you? That is my personal belief because I'm like,
Yeah.
you should be so offended that somebody is unwilling to take care of themselves for just out of respect, not out of like out of respect for themselves, but at the bare minimum out of respect for you because you
Mhm.
have to smell them. You have to if you're
Mhm.
kissing them, you have to kiss them. You have to
Oh, okay.
interact
So
with
here
them.
is
Like that is
also.
nasty.
So I actually heard this from a video from someone else, that it was a comedy video, but the person was actually like dead serious. And I was like, no,
Hmm.
that actually is also a pet peeve of mine. Is that is like people that are always like deep for no reason. And like you cannot get them out of that mode. That is a pet peeve of mine, because why can't we just have a very shallow conversation? We don't always need to talk about philosophy. We don't like it's
Thank
just
you.
draining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like,
Thank you for
let's talk about
validating me.
I saw that in a video and I was like, yeah, that does make me angry. Is like, because you know those people. Like
Hmm.
nothing is ever just a superficial conversation. Like it's always something
Especially
deep.
in the
Like,
spiritual community.
yes.
Especially in the spiritual community. You always know when somebody is like has never been challenged on their bullshit
And
because of the like
it's
where
usually always a man.
hmm hmm
Yes.
like or a white girl. Like no, I'm not even joking. Like some of these white women, they
Yeah.
like you'll be like they'll be like, and I just feel like, we need to just all just, and I'm like, No, bitch. No, don't you dare go. Don't. We just need to channel our light family and our star family. And I'm like, oh, go fuck
I just
yourself.
almost gagged.
Oh, go fuck yourself. Bitch, I still got them like my light family ain't paying my bills. My earth family is. Thank you, mommy.
Oh, very interesting. My cards of the day are the Queen of Wands and the Two of Swords. I feel like that is foreshadowing my interview today.
You're gonna kick it in. You're gonna come in kicking ass in that interview, but don't think you can get away with the shit I got away with at some of my interviews. What is your greatest strength? I'm lazy.
I hate when they ask that question though.
Oh, there's a
Um,
pet peeve. What is
yes.
your great? My motherfucker, you don't
Honestly, I don't
care.
under right. I'm like we've again gone on a tangent here, and we're gonna have to cut this short. But I'm like, I think also another big part of Virgo is the fact that is like the part of like Virgo is like workers or people that work under you,
Hmm.
um, or like employees
Yeah.
basically. But you get employees because you interview, and obviously I think one of the most Virgo times in anybody's life that they're experiencing Virgo energy is during an interview, because you're asking all these like super like critical questions, but like nobody actually cares is the thing. at least when Virgos ask a question, there's a reason for it and it does influence what they think.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, interviews, I feel like are the biggest waste of time because I'm like, you don't filling out applications because half of these application questions you don't care about. You don't care where I went to college because you're not asking me to pull out my degree that I paid however much of the government's money for. Like,
I will have to say that, like, no, I actually had to send a copy of my bachelor's degree at for my last job. But I worked in a school
oh,
district, so that I think
uh,
that's going to make a difference.
never in my life have I had to send my bachelor's in to a job. Like they always ask about it. Like, and that's why I also like think it's kind of bullshit. Like, because there was one job that I had already worked at, like as a temp, and they asked me because it didn't say it on my resume
Hmm.
that like while during the phone screening, she was like, well, where did you go um to college? And my thing is, one, I've already worked for you, so why does that even matter? And two, I'm like, is that something you were truly, because she just also seemed unprepared for the
Hmm.
interview. And so it seemed like that question was just coming out because she didn't have anything else to ask me.
Hmm.
And so she was like, yeah, where do you go to college? And I told her, but my thing is, I'm like, okay, I could be lying to you, but I feel like that's a lot of like interviewing is I could be lying to you. And I feel like if you were smart, you would know I'm lying to you because at the end of the day, in this economy, people just want money. We want a
Right.
job. And I'm like, and I think it's so funny because I have a Virgo sister. And one of the biggest things that I laughed at today while on the phone with her and my mom was that her internship that she was working, basically, she left, she got kicked out of her internship because she had told the people that it's like a family run social work business that she was like, that she was going to probably look for another internship because they didn't have the things that she was promised, nor that she needed for experience in an internship. And so basically one of the owners found out that she was talking and looking for another internship and was petty and kicked her out early. But my thing is, my sister was like, as a Virgo, she was like, I just don't want to work with liars. Like, and it was how she said it because the
That
passion
is such
behind
a
it.
fucking, that is such a that feels like, oh God. That
Like
feels like
top
something
tier
that would be
Virgo.
top tier Virgo. I feel like that would be on like if Virgos had a coat of arms. I just don't want to work with liars.
The way she said liars too, there was just so much passion behind it. But yeah, and so I feel like a lot of interviewing, the best way to go through an interview is to lie well.
Hmm.
Um, to know what you can and cannot lie about. And if you cannot lie about it technically, then you do a very well crafted lie that like almost skirts around the question, like but still technically answers the question. Um, but I was telling her, yeah, some of the best like and some of the most successful people, unfortunately, in the interviewing slash like 3D job world are the best liars,
Hmm.
unfortunately. But anyway, so speaking of um, did you have any other comments about Virgo season before we get into the astrology and tarot?
Uh, no, I'm trying to think before we get to the astrology and tarot, what are the things I do want to mention like with Virgo season? Virgo season, I know Virgos are like they're strict and they're rigid, but I think and yeah, Mercury's in well, no, Mercury won't be in retrograde by the time we get out, by the time Virgo season starts. Um, Vir
uh no, hold on, I have it right here. Hold on. Um, no, when we start Virgo season, like for like a couple days, Mercury will still be retrograde, but then it'll go direct in Leo,
yeah.
like the first week of Virgo season.
So, but with Virgo being a Mercury ruled sign,
Hmm.
This is actually a really good time for you to get down into the dirt of yourself
Hmm.
and start being more forthcoming and more blunt with yourself about
Hmm.
things. So people who are like, I've been blocked, I feel like I've been cursed, look inward a little bit more before you start thinking that like Karen down the street be cursing you. Because Karen down the street may be cursing you, but not in the way you think.
This is true.
So
Um,
Virgo season's a really good time for self-reflection and doing, I would say, like shadow work.
all right. So, we have for Virgo season some of the astrology just for us to kind of get that clear before we go into the cards for the 12 signs. So, I want to first talk about the like the ingresses. So, we'll have Mercury going into Virgo on September 9th. We'll have Mercury also going direct the first week of Virgo season. So it'll be starting in Leo and then so yeah, no, we'll have Mercury going direct in Leo. And then on September 9th, it'll be moving into Virgo, back into Virgo. And so it'll be a good time to not only hear people out as far as understanding like the small details of maybe what's bothering them, what do they have concerns about, like some of the being able to like to really focus on like smaller details of like the plans that you might have that you want to execute later going into Virgo season. But it's also just a good way of like thinking critically. Problem solving can be really good during Mercury and Virgo as well. We're shifting from a more creative thought process and a more heart space process to a more mind mental thought process. So it can be if you're looking to make any sort of like big decisions, I'd wait until September 9th when Mercury enters Virgo, where it does its best at, and it creates lots of to-do lists. And so then of course Mars is going to go into Cancer on September 4th. um, with that being said, we've got a little passive aggressiveness during Virgo season in general. Um, Beware of that because we'll also have our first eclipse in Virgo season. Um, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but also Venus goes into Libra on August 29th. Um, Venus goes into Libra, where there's more of a focus on relationships. What do you value as far as like what is more long-standing versus what is superficial? What do you want to commit to? What, even if it's not a person, what kind of relationships do you want to commit to? Again, and I think it adds to that Mercury and Virgo really valuing like the plan behind things, as well as who do you bring into those plans, who aligns with those values, therefore the plans that you have. And so I think it can be really great, even though Mars and Cancer, I think adds little passive aggressiveness to conflict management. I think it's great because it does, I think even Mars and Cancer gives a lot of staying power to those that you feel that are part of that family, so to speak. In particular, women can be really great for those that are meant to be in those plans to find a lot of staying power, security, and to be able to work and bring in money together. Um, we have two lunations, obviously, during Virgo season. September 2nd, we have a new moon in Virgo. It has more of an Aquarius, Leo sort of vibe, either because of the degrees and all some of the other things going around that time, going on around that time. So I'd say preparing for like a brighter future is a big theme of that particular new moon. It can be a lot of anxious energy because you maybe are excited about those new beginnings or feeling into those new beginnings, even if it hasn't like actually taken place at that time yet. And then I'd say daily affirmations are going to be something that can be a great tool for you. Celebrity drama can be a thing, of course. With the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, it's going to have more of an Aries feel. So we still, even though it's a Pisces full moon lunar eclipse, which is definitely a lot of endings, it has more of an Aries Scorpio kind of vibe to it. And so there can be new beginnings, but they come through either maybe some sort of sacrifice, some sort of ending, but the promise of something new taking root because of those sacrifices or those abrupt endings, or needing to like possibly purge something, especially I think with people that have some sort of addiction issue. This might be a particularly challenging full moon eclipse for them in particular. But it can be a time where we see needing to do a lot of rest and recovery, but not being able to, maybe because you're very busy. Be careful of spreading yourself too thin. And also just wanting closure to talk things over. Yes, something might have ended, but I can see during that lunar eclipse, there might be a lot of need for closure. So as much as the Mercury retrograde will be over, I still think you'll be hearing from some exes or some people from the past, just kind of coming out of the woodwork for that reason. And so, and also like, pulling on the resources of others, wanting to work with others. And that is my overview of Virgo season. My title for Virgo season was Protecting Your Peace. That's the general vibe of Virgo season 2024. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the tarot scopes.
And for those of you that are watching this after the fact and recording, please start following Micah on the Instagrams. Or start following, well, follow the both of us on the Instagrams, which is, Edenite Tarot and Bea Bruja. So if you're not following us, why? We're fantastic.
All right.
All
So am
right.
I starting first? You starting
Yeah,
first?
I'm starting first.
Okay.
So we start with Aries. I pulled for you. Ooh, this card fell out twice too. And I think you were talking about where Aries, like Mars, falling
Mm-hmm.
into Cancer when this card fell out the first time. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking it as a sign. We have the Six of Swords.
Okay.
Your best laid plans don't always come true. So whatever plans you may have, you may need to go back to, you're going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and find some workarounds. This month, like every time you think you're headed in one direction, you're going to get railroaded. Um, this is all about the Six of Swords is saying plan ahead for success in this deck. Um, you can see in the background here in my deck, we have like a blueprint and then the coconut shells. The coconut shells are used as a divination to kind of get an idea of what's to come. Where are you headed? This is saying that you need to make sure you plan a couple of different strategies for what your end game is this month
Mm-hmm.
with everything happen with with basically Mars going into Cancer for the Virgo season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what you think is one thing is really another.
Okay.
Because Aries aren't great at understanding the emotional aspects of people very well. They're not emotionally intelligent. So this is a really good time for you to have a couple of different plans in place because what you think you're hearing is actually sarcasm.
It could also be for Aries that they're moving on to bigger and better things.
It it could be,
It
but
could
also
be.
remember, sarcasm is a real thing, and you need to understand what sarcasm is because when they say, "Oh yeah, I totally do that for you," don't plan on that.
Okay.
Okay.
So for Taurus, we have the Hermit card. For the fact that the Hermit card is the Virgo card, I think it's more speaking to the fact that uh, we're in a fellow earth sign. And so it's a time for more careful planning, being on your own, but really just kind of being in your own comfort, to be able to make those plans, to be able to think through things, to be able to build some sort of structure for the future that you have in mind. Um, but yeah, I think the best way to do that is through some alone time, getting to know yourself and therefore getting to know the future that you want and that how you're going to go after that. I think that's more so what the Hermit card is saying for Taurus for Virgo season.
Hermit. Geminis, my peoples.
Mhm.
We got the my Geminis are gonna love this one. The King of Disc. So what I will usually read this deck because the disc cards are always about like materials, and in traditional decks, this is not a traditional deck. For those of you who are listening at home, if you pull up the Orisha Tarot by Andrew McGregor, and get a look at some of these cards, the King of Disc is basically a dude holding what looks like a bunch of rue plants. And this is talking a lot about being creating and mastering your abundance and owning your shit. This is a great Virgo season is a great time with Mercury going in direct, and that being our sister sign,
Mhm.
whether we like it or not, they are our sister sign. Um, this is a great time to really learn to master the skills that we've been working on to better grow our abundance, whether it is a spiritual abundance, a physical abundance, if you're trying to get in better shape, emotional abundance. This is a great time to master our skills and to really learn to the control our abundance and to get it to start working more for us versus us working more for it.
Okay. We have Cancer. We have Temperance. So for Cancer, for Temperance, unfortunately, like this is like one of my favorite cards, but also one of my least favorite cards. It used to be the Five of Pentacles. That used to be my least favorite card. Still kind of is, but Temperance, I think, might take the cake on that. It's waiting for something, having patience, but also it can be a big symbolism. It can be a card that's talking about healing, taking time to heal. Virgo is not a water sign, but it is the sign of healing or a healer, as well as Sagittarius, I suppose, as well. But I think it's again just like almost like Taurus. It's a time to
Well, healing.
quiet. Yeah. It's a time to go into a more quiet space to heal. And from that, I think comes your biggest victory, because you've taken that time for yourself.
Okay. Leo. I got the King of Swords. This is basically for this Virgo season, you're really going to you need to get challenged in your power and what you say. Swords are air signs and therefore they're communication signs. They are generally ruled by Mercury. So we are talking about like really mean what you say and say what you mean and expect to be challenged on it every step of the way this Virgo season.
All right, we've got Virgo. You've got the Six of Swords. Um, I think the Six of
Sorry,
Swords can be
Virgos.
great. I think the Six of Swords can be great. While it does talk about a voyage alone, it's talking about some sort of voyage in general. So you could be doing some traveling. You could be having to find that the best way to go about your goals is to not make it a group project, which I don't think you have an issue with. You don't mind doing things on your own. It's easier to control that way. But I think it could be a lot of you traveling from one place to the next, especially since we were talking about that busy schedule. If you're unhappy in your situation now, I think that you're finding the best way to go forward and leave what you're not really loving behind for something better.
Okay, my Libras. You got the Six of Cups. This is talking about trusting your gut, following your intuition. I know in the Six of Cups, it's a little bit different in the traditional deck, but this one it has like the cascadia shells, water, and honey. This is talking, and this I always read this as understanding your intuition, understanding that you got to give to receive. Um, and that there are good things coming to you, but you got to be ready to give something. You got to be ready to show thanks and appreciation ahead of time.
All right, Scorpio, we've got the Emperor card. So the Emperor is about making decisions. It's also about like when someone wants to be in control of something to make the structure for something. I think you're really leaning into this Virgo energy. And I do say with Mars being in Cancer, a fellow water sign, be careful about how much you dominate things and why you're trying to dominate things. You can only really control yourself. The Emperor is an Aries-like card. So I understand like while you're trying to bring in some sort of new energy, just be careful about trying to control others and trying to be almost like very motherly, because I think that's another thing we can see in Virgo season in general is a lot of smothering mother energy because you want people to do their best. But in that, make sure that you are remembering that you can only control yourself, not other people. And with that, I think you'll create the structure and get on top of the things that you're wanting to get on top of.
All right, so Sag, Atarius, we got for you. You're gonna hate this. We got a Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is showing a gentleman here taking out the trash. So this is talking about doing work. This is talking about doing work nobody wants to do, which is taking out the fucking trash because it stinks, it's gross, it's nasty, nobody likes it, but it needs to be done. Sagittarius, I think you actually thrive in these situations where you're kind of the background guy that does all the work that nobody wants to do, but the work that needs to be done. This is definitely Virgo season, for whatever reason, is definitely going to be your season to really play the puppet master from behind the scenes, but understand that it is probably going to be a lot more of a struggle than you're used to.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so that was Sagittarius. Capricorn, we have the Chariot card. So the Chariot card is actually Cancer's card, which Mars is in. So I think it can be a lot of maybe possible issues when it does come to relationships with others. There can be a lot of need for conflict resolution or just moving forward. But either way, there is some sort of conflict resolution going on in relationships, whether that just means that you guys are not meant to work together and you're moving forward, or you're coming to a place where you guys can both find like common ground or home space and move forward together in general. But I think there needs to be maybe like a bit of softening with Cancer in general. For your personal goals, I think this is great because it says that you are finding a victory in those goals in particular.
Okay, so Aquarius, we have the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups talks
I'm so
about,
tired of that card.
at least you didn't get it. Uh, the Four of Cups here, we're talking in this deck is a woman, is basically a bunch of blood vessels, needles, babies, a woman who's pregnant, all that stuff. It's talking about what are you leaving behind and what seeds are you planting for the future. This is a time to start thinking about your legacy. Virgos are earth energies, so it moves slower. It it is nurturing. Virgo is super nurturing. But this is the time where you want to start planting seeds for your future growth. What are you leaving behind? What do you want for your future? What seeds are you, this is the time to start thinking and setting those seeds in motion so that by your season, you can start reaping the fruits of your labor.
Last but not least, Pisces. You got the Eight of Swords. You are the only thing holding you back in Virgo season. A little planning, a little detail orientedness will go far. A little to-do list will go far, as far as achieving what you want to achieve as well. But you can't overthink things. This is Jupiter in Gemini's card, ironically, which is part of the mutable T-square that we're having right now. And so don't be afraid of changes, because there will be lots of changes that are coming along with Virgo season in particular. Just don't overthink it, but do make sure that you have structure is my biggest thing, for that. This is not the time for chaos, just being your friend. This is the time to not overthink, but also just think enough to make structure and a plan. All right. That is the podcast for this week. Vanessa, where can everyone find you?
At Bea Bruja on pretty much all the socials, except I think Facebook, that's Bea Bruja _AZ. But otherwise, at Bea Bruja, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously you found me on YouTube. Um,
Honey.
or Eden I. But and then you can find me beabruja.com on my website where you can book for readings, order lotions, candles. I do specialty candles. You just got to hit me up for what you're looking for. And then, of course, if you're in the local Tucson area, Fridays and Sundays, you can always find me at the Four of Wands for walk-in readings. And every third or fourth Thursday, you can find me at the Spark Project Collective Tattoo Shop, a couple doors down from that, or a couple buildings down from that, doing Tarot Thursdays. What about you,
Okay.
Micah?
I can be found at Eden I Tarot on Instagram, as well as EdenITarot.com. I'm not, as of like right this moment when this is being recorded, I'm not offering any private sessions now, but after Mercury retrograde, I will be opening up my schedule again on a very limited basis for private readings and clients again. So just look out for that after Mercury retrograde and possibly the mutable squares are done. I will be coming out with that announcement. So if you want to make sure that you are on top of that announcement, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Other than that, it's been wonderful talking to everybody, doing cards, and yeah,
Yeah.
Vanessa, take us out of here.
All right, people, watch out for those mutant squares. See ya.